Hi guys, the SNP's enemy isn't just the Tories and perhaps Labour, but another party which is religiously against self-determination is the DUP. Sammy Wilson and his gang are deeply worried about Scotland becoming an independent country, not because he cares about Scotland per se, but because he's facing the increased likelihood of a referendum on Irish unity. The DUP bring nothing to the table but no, we're against everything. Here Sammy Wilson, who has been instrumental in the slow destruction of the Union, is now trying to brute force its continued existence. Have a listen to this.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the legal position is now clear, but the political decision which needs to be made must also be clear, that under no circumstances should the power to hold referendum be devolved to either Northern Ireland, Scotland or Wales, because we know that nationalist-obsessed politicians would use that power to first of all call continual referendums until they got the result they wanted. They would use it to distort.
Wait a minute, they would continue to use it until they got the vote they wanted. Well, if they're elected by the public, well, and they represent the public, wouldn't that be the people deciding, not the politicians? The politicians can hold the referendum, but it's the people that will vote in the referendum, not the politicians. Maybe Sammy doesn't understand that, but let's continue.
The political debate, and they use it to cover for their own governmental incompetence. So I plead with the government not to even contemplate going down that road, but I would also say the government needs to do far, far more, whether in the Northern Ireland context, or the Welsh context, or the Scottish context, to sell the benefits of the Union, which are apparent to everybody.
They're so apparent that that he couldn't be bothered to list them. Look, when I say that Sammy Wilson has been instrumental in the slow destruction of the Union, of course that's because of Brexit. Sammy Wilson, a campaigner for Brexit, he was standing, getting his photo taken with Aaron Banks. He's a huge supporter of leaving the European Union. He's been anti-European all along. And, you know, he was told Brexit would damage the Union. And it's not just in Northern Ireland, but you can see it in Scotland as well. Now, they keep saying, well, you can't have another referendum. You know, what are you having another referendum for? You had one back in 2014 when it comes to Scotland. But in both Scotland and Northern Ireland, what has been the major game changer? Brexit. People were saying this is going to be damaging to the Union. And the likes of the DUP in Northern Ireland and the Tories, a lot of them, not all of them, but many of them in Scotland, rejected the idea. No, Brexit will not have any negative impact on the Union. And one of the driving reasons for having another referendum in Scotland is because the situation has changed because of Brexit. If Brexit had not happened, they wouldn't be able to use it as a reason to leave. There are other reasons, but they couldn't use the reason of Brexit. The fact that a majority of Scots voted to remain in the European Union, and they were dragged out anyway. And you have people like Sammy Wilson who campaigned for this. Like, I don't mean to keep labouring this point, but Sammy Wilson campaigned for Brexit, and he hasn't turned around and said, actually, it was a bad idea. No, he still supports Brexit. And Brexit has been the most damaging thing to the Union, both the Union with Northern Ireland and the Union with Scotland. How do you get away from that? It'd be great to have a bit of honesty for once from the likes of the DUP. But they keep banging on about, no, you know, what's happening in Northern Ireland, nothing to do with Brexit. It's the protocol. The protocol is the problem. The reason that more and more people are supporting leaving the Union in Scotland, nothing to do with Brexit. It's just to cover and distract the public from the failings of the SNP government. Well, if the SNP government were continually failing, then why are people continuing to vote for them? And if part of their manifesto is, we want to have a second referendum or we support independence, then why would a majority of people be voting for that? I don't know about putting Sammy Wilson as Fool of the Week, but he's definitely close to that. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.